Pedri just went down with another hamstring injury. Barcelona confirmed he's out for at least a month. 8 crucial matches he'll miss, including the Champions League decider against Copenhagen. The squad's already decimated with injuries, the title race is tight, and Hansi Flick's entire tactical system revolves around Pedri controlling the tempo. This could genuinely destroy Barcelona's season. The curse is real. Is Pedri becoming too injury-prone to build a team around? Or is Barcelona's medical staff to blame? Comment below. Pedri limped off the pitch in the 61st minute of Barcelona's 4-2 Champions League victory over Slavia Prague on Wednesday, January 21st. The image of him hobbling to the sideline with that familiar grimace of pain has become far too common for Barcelona fans. On Thursday, the club officially confirmed what everyone feared: a muscular injury in his right hamstring with an expected recovery time of 1 month. 1 month doesn't sound catastrophic until you look at the fixture list Barcelona faces during that period. La Liga matches against Real Oviedo, Elche, Girona, and Mallorca. The crucial Champions League finale against Copenhagen that determines whether Barcelona finishes in the top 8 and avoids the playoff round. Copa del Rey quarterfinal against Albacete, and potentially a semi-final first leg. That's 8 matches minimum, possibly more if recovery takes longer than expected. And here's the kicker that has Barcelona fans absolutely spiraling. This is Pedri's 3rd muscular injury of the 2025/26 season. He dealt with a calf problem in late 2025. He suffered a muscle tear in October, and now this hamstring issue in January. The pattern is undeniable and deeply concerning. Pedri is 23 years old, and his body is breaking down with alarming frequency. The narrative that Pedri's injury can destroy Barça isn't hyperbole from clickbait merchants. It's grounded in tactical reality. Pedri is Barcelona's primary orchestrator. He's the player who controls tempo, breaks pressing lines with his positioning and passing, and dictates the rhythm of matches. When Pedri plays, Barcelona looks like a cohesive, controlled team executing Hansi Flick's vision. When Pedri doesn't play, Barcelona often looks chaotic, disjointed, and vulnerable. The statistics back this up. Barcelona's progressive passes into the final third drop significantly when Pedri is absent. Their ability to play through high presses diminishes. The entire structure of their build-up changes because nobody else in the squad has Pedri's combination of technical quality, positional intelligence, and decision-making under pressure. Flick's tactical system is built around intent-based passing, and Pedri is the leader in that category. He's the player who sees the passes before they're available, who positions himself to receive the ball in tight spaces, and who can unlock defenses with a single, perfectly weighted through ball. Losing that for a month isn't just losing one player, it's losing the entire foundation of how Barcelona wants to play. The injury list at Barcelona is already absurdly long. Gavi is still working his way back from his long-term knee injury. Andreas Christensen is sidelined. Ferran Torres is out, and now Pedri joins them. The squad depth that looked promising at the start of the season has been completely decimated by injuries, and the midfield in particular is now dangerously thin. Barcelona is now heavily reliant on Marc Casado and Frenkie de Jong to carry the midfield load. Casado has been impressive this season, establishing himself as a reliable pivot who provides defensive stability. But he's young and relatively inexperienced at this level. Asking him to play every 3 days for a month is risky. De Jong has his own fitness concerns, having dealt with various injuries throughout his Barcelona career. The last thing Barcelona needs is De Jong breaking down because he's being overworked to compensate for Pedri's absence. The Champions League situation adds another layer of urgency and pressure. Barcelona currently sits 9th in the Champions League standings. The top 8 teams qualified directly for the round of 16. Teams finishing 9th through 24th enter a 2-legged playoff round in February. Barcelona absolutely does not want to be in those playoffs. The playoff round adds 2 extra matches to an already congested schedule. It increases the risk of more injuries. It adds psychological pressure and fatigue. And most importantly, it's not guaranteed that Barcelona would even advance through the playoffs. They could theoretically be eliminated from the Champions League in February, which would be a catastrophic failure for a club of Barcelona's stature and ambitions. To avoid the playoffs, Barcelona must beat Copenhagen in their final league phase match. That match is now happening without Pedri, who would have been crucial for controlling possession and managing the game. Copenhagen isn't a pushover. They're well organized defensively and dangerous on the counter. This is exactly the type of match where Pedri's ability to control tempo would have been invaluable. The La Liga title race compounds the problem. Barcelona currently leads Real Madrid by just 1 point. 1 point. That's the entire margin for error. Every match from now until the end of the season is essentially a must-win because any slip-up could hand Real Madrid the title. And Barcelona has to navigate the next month without their most important midfielder. The fixtures during Pedri's absence aren't impossible, but they're not gimmies either. Girona away is always tricky. Mallorca has been solid this season. Even matches against theoretically weaker opponents like Oviedo and Elche carry risk when your squad is depleted and your tactical system is disrupted by key absences. The Copa del Rey adds another competition to manage. Barcelona faces Albacete in the quarterfinals, which should be winnable even without Pedri. But if they advance, the semi-final first leg could happen during Pedri's absence. That's another high-stakes match where Barcelona would be missing their orchestrator. The player fatigue factor cannot be overstated. Barcelona's season is already incredibly demanding with La Liga, Champions League, and Copa del Rey commitments. Losing Pedri means other players have to play more minutes, which increases their injury risk, which could create a cascading effect where the squad gets progressively more depleted as the season continues. Frenkie de Jong, in particular, is now under enormous pressure. He'll have to play almost every match for the next month. His fitness record isn't great. He's dealt with ankle issues, muscle problems, and general wear and tear throughout his Barcelona career. If de Jong goes down with an injury during Pedri's absence, Barcelona's midfield situation becomes genuinely catastrophic. Marc Casado will also be asked to play far more than would be ideal for a young player in his first season as a regular starter. That's a lot of physical and mental pressure to handle. He's performed well so far, but consistency over a month of matches every 3 days is a different challenge entirely. Now, there is a silver lining that Barcelona fans are clinging to desperately. Dani Olmo replaced Pedri against Slavia Prague and scored within 2 minutes of coming on. Olmo and Fermín López are both in excellent form right now, and they provide something Pedri doesn't: consistent goal-scoring threat from midfield. Pedri's game is built on control, passing, and tempo management. He's not a prolific scorer. Olmo and Fermín are more direct, more willing to attack the box, and more likely to contribute goals. In certain matches, particularly against teams that sit deep and defend, having Olmo or Fermín instead of Pedri might actually be tactically beneficial. But that's not the primary concern. The primary concern is Barcelona's ability to control matches against high-quality opponents who press aggressively and don't allow time on the ball. That's where Pedri is irreplaceable. That's where his absence will hurt most. The other silver lining is Marc Casado's emergence as a reliable defensive midfielder. Casado allows Barcelona to maintain defensive shape and structure even when the creative spark from Pedri is missing. He's disciplined, positionally sound, and mature beyond his years. He won't replace what Pedri does offensively, but he ensures Barcelona isn't completely defensively vulnerable without him. The controversy surrounding Pedri's recurring injuries is reigniting debates about Barcelona's medical management and player workload. Pedri has been overworked for years. He played in the 2020 Euros as a teenager. He played in the Olympics immediately after. He's been a regular starter for Barcelona since then, with minimal rest. His body is breaking down because he's been asked to do too much, too soon. Fans and some staff members are questioning whether the club has properly managed Pedri's physical development and recovery. Are the training methods appropriate? Is the sports science department doing everything possible to prevent these recurring muscle injuries? Is Pedri getting adequate rest between matches? These aren't new questions. They've been asked for years, but they're becoming more urgent as Pedri's injury frequency increases. At 23 years old, he should be entering his prime years. Instead, he's dealing with chronic muscle problems that threaten to derail his career trajectory. The historical context makes this even more concerning for Barcelona fans.
They've seen this movie before, with players like Ousmane Dembélé, Ansu Fati, and to some extent, Gavi. Young talents arrive with enormous potential, suffer repeated injuries, and never quite fulfill their promise because their bodies can't handle the demands being placed on them. Pedri's situation isn't identical to those players, but the pattern is worryingly similar. Muscle injuries that keep recurring despite treatment and rest periods. A player who's clearly talented but can't stay healthy long enough to build momentum and consistency. A club that seems unable or unwilling to properly manage the workload of its most important young players. The timing of this injury is particularly cruel because Pedri was finally hitting peak form. He looked sharp against Slavia Prague before the injury. His passing was crisp, his positioning was excellent. He was controlling the game exactly the way Flick wants. And then his hamstring went, and now Barcelona has to figure out how to survive without him for a month. Hansi Flick faces a tactical dilemma. Does he try to replicate Pedri's role by asking someone like Gavi, if healthy, or Fermin to play deeper and focus on control? Or does he accept that he can't replicate Pedri's skill set and instead shift to a more direct, high-intensity style that relies on Olmo and Fermin's goal scoring rather than Pedri's control? The latter option might actually be more pragmatic. Barcelona's roster without Pedri doesn't have another pure orchestrator. Trying to force someone into that role when they don't have the skill set for it could be counterproductive. It might be better to embrace a slightly different tactical approach for the month, one that plays to the strengths of the available players rather than trying to replicate what Pedri does. But that comes with risks. Barcelona's identity under Flick has been built around controlled possession and patient build-up. Shifting to a more chaotic, direct style could work against weaker opponents, but might be suicide against elite teams or in high-pressure matches where control and composure are essential. The mental aspect matters too. Barcelona's players know how important Pedri is. They know the team functions better with him. His absence creates uncertainty and doubt. Players might press too hard trying to compensate, leading to mistakes. Or they might become passive, waiting for someone else to take responsibility for creating chances. Pedri's out for a month. 8 crucial matches without Barcelona's orchestrator. The Champions League spot is at risk. The title race is tight. The injury curse continues. If you think Barcelona survives this without dropping points, hit that like button. If you believe this injury ruins their season, smash subscribe and tell us how bad it gets. Either way, the next month is absolutely critical.